Hi friends, so today I want to talk to you about money. Yes, first of all, I'm gonna mention my dream that, not my dream, but my husband's dream that he had a while back. I think most of you have heard it, but just in case you haven't watched my video about a dollar, um, it's in that video. But if you missed it, I'm gonna say here just in case you missed it. I believe it's a prophetic dream that tells us what will happen. And also, I was listening to Ray Dalio's report, and also I was listening to Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. So those are great guys to listen to. They're so smart and they're so knowledgeable about money and what are the things that are coming. So those are the things we will talk and discuss today. Stay tuned and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Hopefully this will tell you what is coming and that you are preparing yourself. Because really, as I was reading and listening to those guys talking, I was getting even more nervous than I thought before. Not nervous in a way like, oh my goodness, we're doomed. No, but more nervous in a way it is worse than I thought. And we as Christians, we do not get nervous and start running. No, we usually, if we get nervous, we'll start praying more. We try to tell all our problems to God, and He is the one who will guide us and tell us what to do. So let's jump in. First of all, as I was listening to Ray Dalio's, he had the most recent talk that he had. It was called Loss Warning, Inflation, Prices Are Rising. And in his video, he called it, Most People Have No Idea What Is Coming. And as I was listening to it about the gas prices getting worse, about the prices, the inflation that's going, he was talking about the Federal Reserve. They'll tighten the credit and they will raise interest rates. He was talking about the cost of living increasing, and also as he likes to look into the history of things, how things were before, and as he compares everything, he says we are almost like in the 1970s. In the 1970s, people had no clue that what would happen. They had no idea. And nowadays, we were living such a well life. 2008 does not count. So people are not prepared for it. People are not ready for it. Most people who are in the 2 years previously, like the 2020 and the 2021, has really ruined a lot of people financial status due to a lot of people losing their jobs and living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are living on federal money or some kind of help from the government. So that's kind of ruined for a lot of people. And he was saying people were really surprised back then, and they will be really surprised now too. Like in the 1945, when the World War II happened, um, America was the 80th percentile of wealth. It was really wealthy with the gold, and it was the world reserve currency was the dollar. Um, if you guys have watched anything recently about financial things, have you noticed that the dollar is slipping? It's going lower and lower in different countries, and it just shows that things are changing. So, and a lot of people are stating, is the recession on the horizon? This inflation will trigger a recession. People are stating possibly it will happen this fall, maybe October. So Also, they were saying what will really trigger it, if there's war with Europe, then everybody will suffer. Everyone. There'll be no winners. There is a 1 in 3 chances that this will happen, that a civil war will happen here in America, according to Ray Dalios, but he said it's a higher percentage, 1 in 3, that international war will happen. He said it all is in the hands of the war that we have right now with Ukraine. So if Russia wins, then everything will be back to normal. That's what he says. He'll have a little problem, but he will go back to G20 next year, and everybody will be happy as clams. But if he loses, he will escalate, which means he will go into Europe, China will move in, and more countries nowadays have nuclear weapons. We as Christian, we can hear the news, we can listen at all the financial gurus talking about it, but we do not take it to heart unless we know what God is telling us. And there is a lot of prophecies, a lot of dreams that say the same thing. They say the dollar will be nothing. People will be walking on dollars. They will not be able to buy anything from that. And they also talking about that people, let me tell you my husband's dream, just in case you missed it last time. It was a dream a while back. He had, he went to the bank. There was some kind of commotion. There was a lot of people in the bank, and everyone were trying to get their money. As he waited in a long line to get his money, he saw people were getting angry. They were getting upset. They were getting really irrational. Like they were yelling. And finally, like in his dream, he's like, I was waiting and waiting. And then finally he was at the window, and he looked at the lady who was there, and she said, I'm sorry, sir, I do not have your money. I only have $8 in the bank. And from that point, he just woke up and he was like, oh, $8 is left from my money that I have in the bank. So imagine having that. Imagine that coming true. And a lot of people will say, well, just pray, it will not happen. But what has to happen, it will happen. We can pray to be prepared. We can pray for God to spare us the worst consequences that could come from this. But God does prepare us, though, to tell us what to do and how to survive this. So we pray, we get ready, and we are aware of what things are coming together. We may be like, we see a dream, we hear a prophecy, we may be like, you know what? It may not come true. We're just going to pray and it will not come true. But when you look around and you see things on the horizon and you see the news and you see what countries are doing, if you are in the state that you can be aware and concentrate what's going on in life, then you'll be aware that things are getting worse. They're not getting any better, and they are getting worse. So there is a chance that the war will escalate. It will go into Europe, and then from there, according to Ray Dalios, it will go into China. Will get involved, and who knows what will happen here. To remind you, people had dreams that China will be at war with America here. It wants to be in control of this land, and it may come true. So let's see here. So we are headed into some risky times. Hopefully you are prepared. There will be some cash tightening. Asset prices will be hurt. You will need to get good investments in different places. People, he stayed in gold, silver, bitcoins, all the other things, but land. Um, but I don't know that will help. Well, guess people can have it, but and then he's stating that we are spending money, too much money. We're spending on things we do not need, on furniture, new clothes, new items that we may not need, new cars. If your car is still in a good position, you just drove it for a few years and you want to reinvest and get a new car, it's all, you're throwing away your money. And so, according to um, Dalio, he says, always think, what is the worst case scenario if something happens? Can you handle it? For instance, if your money is all in the bank and this happens, how will you be able to survive it? If you go to the bank and there's no money, there's only $8 left. Will you still be able to survive it? Will you be able to handle it? How will you pay your bills? How will you pay anything? Yes, maybe probably it will be a huge crash and like a huge stock crash that like they're saying it possibly will happen, and no one will be paying for anything. But just even the basics like food, medicine, water, if something happens, are you prepared? Do you have those items? Will you have them? Do you have cash to buy them the first days when it happens? Who knows? But basically, if there's no water, worst case scenario, the water is poisoned, what will happen? The worst case scenario, there's no food, there's no federal aid to help you. How will you survive? Medicine, money, warmth, electricity, there's no electricity, what will happen? How will you handle it? Can you survive that? Can you handle it? And of course, gas. If there's no gas in your car, what will you do? So, let's see. So, according to Robert Kiyosaki and his friend Richard, they're talking that it is going to be a rough ride. So they're saying that it's going to be the world's economy is on the edge of a crisis since World War II. That always triggers something in my mind that if that happened, that was the worst economic crisis they had since that war. Are we on the brink of another war? Is that why they're all preparing for it? Just a question. They're stating the crash, when it happens, will be worse than 2008, when all people lost their homes and they couldn't pay for their homes and all the banks got crashed and they had no money. It will be worse than that. Robert was talking about how people are happy because they're buying real estate and it's such a good idea. And he says, now it's not a good idea. Now we are at a turning point. Now you need to sell, not buy. In 1944, the dollar was strong. It was strong since then, but it was going down little by little. And now it's not as strong as it used to be. The houses are being, like the bubble again is happening. And it will pop. And then what will happen to all those houses and what will the banks do again? He said there's no more printing money, federal money. They are destroying the money. Destroying the money is like they're letting it go. Instead of printing more and more money, they're letting it go to lower their debt, which I don't think it's working. Which can trigger a stock crash and stock market crash, and that will happen. I heard on another news recently that people are getting into their 401ks now. They're going into their retirement money now because they can't afford things. They can't afford to pay for things because everything is getting so much more expensive. Um, People won't be able to afford their housing, their rents, their gas, their food, just basic items. And people are stating it could happen by the end of this year. And possibly it will happen in the fall. It will start up in the fall. A lot of things are triggered in my mind for fall, and a lot of things may happen this fall. There's just many things that are prophecies are stating that people have to move by fall from certain areas. So there may be a huge earthquake or some kind of natural disaster that will trigger the financial crash in October this year. I'm not predicting anything, I'm just saying it just all comes in my head like that. What will happen? Or Russia will escalate. And then, yes, then it will all trigger, it will all come together, and it will just, the motion will be so fast and so quick that people will not be able to take a breath and see what should I do now. So that's what I was looking into. I think we should all be prepared. As Christians, we should pray. We should tell God, what do you want me to do? Is there something specific I should be doing right now? Is there something I should be looking into? Is there some assets I should be looking into? Should I sell things? Should I sell my car, my boat, whichever you need to sell? Because now is not the time to buy. Now is the time to sell. Um, Basically, if money will crash and you will have no cash, just think, how will you survive? What will you do? Um, well, I think that's it for now. And I may do another video about why you should move from Oregon, California, and Washington before the fall, before fall comes. If I get more information, I just have basics, like basics why people have to move, but I want to get more information, more prophecies, more things that are actually complementing what I have to say, or they are saying the same thing. Well, that's good for now. You have a good evening. It's getting darker here. The light is going down, but it's a beautiful summer day, and hopefully you're having a good day as well. Hopefully you're prepared. Hopefully God is teaching you what to do. It is so important to hear from God these days. I'm not even joking. It's so important. If you don't have that connection, today is the day to start seeking Him, finding Him, and see what He has in store for you. You will be amazed. Take care, my friends. Have a good day and be prepared. If you feel like the crash will happen in the fall as well, let me know, and then we'll compare our notes. Take care.